What an absolute dumpster fire of a day, straight down all session. We didn't get any of the rally that we hoped for into the Monday, went straight down pre-market, straight down all session. Touched the trend line here to the penny and then got a really strong candle off of that huge volume coming through off of that candle. We'll see if it has any follow through to the upside. It's right at the level 560, but after this massive sell, you just have to assume that we're going to continue to do so. It's been upper left to lower right here for several weeks in a row at this point. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. So in news today, DOGE chief Elon Musk came out and said he is running his company with great difficulty as the shares continue to tank. You can see they're down almost 2% after hours. They were down like 15% during the session. Absolutely terrible there, and you can see he's getting hate on X. X was under attack today, supposedly from the Ukraine, so that's going to be interesting. Is there going to be any repercussions from the administration for this cyber attack? Continues to be very interesting, and Tesla seems to be a dumpster fire. Any investments in Tesla have been really focused around AI and energy and potentially robots and robo-taxi. We've been talking about this for a very long time. You have to assume that this company is not just going to make cars in the future, but for right now it is a dumpster fire, falling more than it has in half a decade. Big sells across the board. I'm sure it was somewhat of a victim of the overall market selling, but continues to sell super aggressively here today. Moving over to fear and greed, what a move here, down to a 15 from a 20, absolutely as low as we've seen in more than 12 months. Looking at the indicators, obviously all of them are still in extreme fear as we continue to go lower. Breadth cratering, absolutely terrible, volatility spiking. Want to see what we got to there on the VIX. Based on this metric, it says a 27.86, so we'll see. Safe haven demand, extreme fear, bonds continue to hang in there while stocks are cratering, but we'll take a look at it. Overall, extreme fear across markets. Moving over to the economic calendar, tomorrow we do get the JOLTS. That's going to be interesting. I'm not sure why it's not coming out the same week as the normal unemployment data, but we get that tomorrow, 3-year note auction as well, and then Wednesday, tons of inflation data, core and headlines, CPI, 10-year note auction, Fed balance sheet, crude inventories, all of that coming out on Wednesday. Obviously, CPI is going to be the big one. And then the next day you have PPI right on the back of it. Moving over to the charts, what a day, 2.66%, and that is actually after a really strong bounce. So we went originally all the way down to 3.5% on the day, down to that major trend line. This is a very powerful trend line here. You can see this marks the bottom back here, the lows in April of 24, the lows here again in August of 24, and now we are here again. Is this trend line going to hold up markets? You can see it a little bit better there with those support lines off, but this is a very, very powerful one. You can see it marks the top back here in July, marks a lot of price action back here, and really originates in that May of 22 time period. So important trend line. That's why I have it in such a thick color. It's one of the most important on the chart right now, and that's where we're at. Are we going to break through this? We're definitely in very bearish conditions, breaking through that 200. That's what ended up holding on the Friday. We were hoping that was going to hold today, and it didn't. So it broke through all of that structure there. And then looking at the daily price action and then looking at the intraday on the hourly chart, you can see straight down immediately. As soon as it opened, broke the first level, retested that, broke the second level on the 9 o'clock candle, third level here on the 1 o'clock candle, bounced at the trend line, but after hours selling all of that back, and we're right back to the lows nearly in the after hours, at least on a closing basis, we're right around that area. So big selling in the after hours just continues to look absolutely terrible. Even with the huge volume coming off of that trend line, you can see 4.39 million, probably a big take profit for a lot of people out there after this huge fall. From top to bottom now on the SPY charts, that was about 9, almost 10%, 9 1/3. Are we going to get to that full 10% on the SPY charts? It certainly seems like it, and look at it go, continues to sell here in the after hours. Then moving over to the SPY charts here on the Tasty charts, you can see we are way below that lowest ATR band. Everything is super oversold. Let's throw up the weekly chart here just to give it some context. You can see that weekly 55 EMA right in there. That price right now is 556.94. We touched that today. Is that going to hold up at all? Right in line with that trend line. We're back into bearish conditions now on the weekly. We have not seen bearish conditions on the weekly since back here November of 2023, broke that into bullish conditions, and then we had a massive run. So bearish conditions now on the weekly, and it seems like that lowest ATR band is in play now on the weekly chart. It might take a week or two to get there, but that is at 542.47. If you touch that, you have to consider the 89 there at 530.60. So big waterfall sell, continues to look terrible. Moving over to the NASDAQ chart hit this trend line here. This was from this kind of consolidation, kind of bull flaggy type setup. We ended up getting the breakout, going to a double top, and since then it has been massive. We have sold off to the lows 13%, a little bit higher than that now, about 1% from that low, but look at the after hours price action, just like the SPY charts. Absolutely terrible, down more than 0.5% right to that next level, 468.07, just at that next level, 468.05 for me. Continues to look really, really bad, really big selling. In terms of consolidation, we're already into this consolidation back here from July through August of last year. Are we going to take all of that out and go to these lows around the 450 area? Seems like nothing is out of play at this point. Just continues to waterfall off, looking terrible. 13% down, and it continues to fall even further. We're through that support now in the after hours. Giving you the play-by-play looks terrible. And you have to assume we're probably going to go to this 450 area now that we're past these kind of consolidation structures, filled these gaps that were left all the way back here on 18 September. Everything's filled. Is it going to continue to sell? It looks like it. Moving over to the Qs, same thesis here. Bearish conditions, bearish on the weekly chart. Trailing stop is now 553.91. Last time we saw bearish conditions on this chart, you have to go all the way back here to March of 23. So it's been a long time. Super bullish conditions for a long time. We tested it a couple times back here in July, August timeframe, and now we're back into that zone. We're below all the EMAs on the weekly for the short term. The medium one there, the 89, sitting at 451.40. So pretty much in line with that 450 zone. I think that's probably where we're going. Consolidation low here, 89 EMA, ATR band low, 450 seems to make sense. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, both of these doing the same thing, 2.5% and 2.05%. The Dow touching the 200 SMA, interesting, taking us back to this consolidation here. Is this a massive double top with us being right at the neckline on the Dow? Are we going to get that follow through from top to bottom? That's about 6.7%. If you do the follow through there, at about $31, $30, somewhere in there, your price target would take you all the way down into the 389, 390, somewhere in this zone here, 387 to 394. So lots and lots of downside potential. Got some gaps that were left here from very long ago, August of 24. Is it going to do it? Who knows, but it definitely looks terrible. Both of these continuing to sell after hours. Not as bad as the other charts, but continuing to look bad here. The Russell right at this very powerful trend line. You can see that one goes all the way back here to November of 23, September of 23, and then marks a really long consolidation low here. March all the way through June of 23, and we are back into that zone now. So is this a buying opportunity? Obviously, things are much cheaper for the Russell now, down 18% to the lows there, just over 18%. So very, very low. And that's after just wicking the all-time high back here in November of 26, rallied up, touched it there, touched it again just barely November of last year, and then sold super dramatically from that topping pattern. So looks awful, continues to look awful. Going through these a little bit quicker here now, we got the Mag 7 down 5.5%, absolutely massive, and it is below the low of the candle in the after hours, continuing to sell. 265 is the next level. If that breaks, for me, 249, taking us all the way back to this consolidation high in April of 24, May of 24, and then you can see we touch that same zone here, August of 24. So continues to look bad, continues to look like selling, everything is broken, and it continues to go lower. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft, these did just as bad as everything else, 4.8% and 3.3% down. Apple hitting the 200, we've been talking about this. Is it going to break below this trend, break below the 200, and then we're going to see big selling on Apple? That could be interesting. Looking at Microsoft, just continues to go 3.5% to the next level. Hit the price target 387.77 once we broke 388. The next one is the trend line, and this horizontal support here at 372 continues to look bad. Everything looks like big selling. Moving over to Tesla and NVDA, you can see 15.4% down for Tesla. Fully round trip this move. It wasn't that long ago, October of 24, we were in the same price range. went all the way up to 480, round trip the move, got cut in half since then. We're back to the highly traded zone, almost to the penny. After hours falling even more, the level is 214. And then looking at NVIDIA, down 5% right to the level 106. That was the target. If we got through this trend line, hit the target, closed right there. After hours we're below it. The next level is 95.74 for me. And that takes you back to this huge gap up that we had. You can see went right to the level here, gapped and rallied, came back, retested that level, went actually to the next one at 90.69 and then bounced really dramatically up to that 130 area. And that's where we are again. Is it going to push through here back to that 95 area? It certainly seems like a possibility. You also have this consolidation low there from September of last year. Again, everything looks bad, but we're in some zones of support that might make sense. Moving over to staples and discretionary, as you can see, staples held up really well, down just 0.22. It tried to go higher, couldn't do it. We're still in this consolidation top, looks like. But looking at discretionaries, down 3.5% through the 200 there, back to the highly traded zone, right to the level 197.14, touched that and bounced a little bit. It's actually holding up after hours. That's interesting. Huge volume, of course, on the selling action. But round trip, this whole move now below the 200. Is this a zone where it holds up a little bit? Who knows? I would be patient at best. Moving over to breadth. Breadth actually held up okay. Interesting to see that. I thought breadth would look a lot worse, but it doesn't. You can see it's still holding in this kind of same consolidation really on both of these charts. Momentum still not good. RSI still not good, but in terms of price, we're still in the same range, still in negative breadth, but still holding up. The more important one here is the 200 breadth, though. You can see down 12.2%, broke out of this structure here, broke this low here, went right to the next level, 42.26. So you do have negative breadth now on the 200, and markets continue to sell from that point. Moving over to the dollar continues to hold up multiple tests of that 103.64 level. We're holding there. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 tests of it. Continues to bounce slightly higher highs each iteration. We'll see if it can hold that structure or not. Right now, we're still in the middle of it. You can see a wick for yesterday on the dollar. We've opened already for the Tuesday. So far down just a little bit, but still holding this kind of consolidation, potentially bottoming pattern at the 103 area. After a pretty substantial fall, you can see it takes you back to this consolidation low on the rally up. And we're now here in the zone. Is it going to bounce a little bit from here? Certainly seems like a possibility. So far, momentum on the daily. Obviously, nowhere near closed on the candle, but it has bounced slightly. Moving over to bonds. Bonds actually sold a little bit here on J&K, down about 1/3%. Nothing crazy. Still in this kind of same zone, 95 to 96.50 area. About a dollar range. We've been trading in that dollar range for a while. And then looking at TLT, really nice jump there. Up 1% after hours, up even more. Momentum is bearish, and you can see it bouncing off of that 21 EMA. Structurally, continues to look good. Kind of looks like a left shoulder, head, right shoulder potentially. If this is all we're going to get for the right shoulder, I think there is a ton of upside potential here on TLT. If it breaks and holds above 92, I think this could really push back up into the 100 area. Let's go ahead and extend that out. That would give you a trend potential kind of in here at 100, maybe 101. And that's assuming it takes that long to get there. It could take a while, maybe as high as 102.50 potentially. We'll see. But right now, I still think bonds are an opportunity, and they continue to be. Moving over to the VIX. The VIX continues to march higher. It almost looks like a trend here. Really strong price action on the VIX. Went to that next level, 28.89. That was what we were looking at, the trend line there. Touched both of those and then pulled back just slightly. It is overbought in the short term. Can it continue to run? Who knows? The last huge move we had was back here in July, August. Are we going to get that kind of a wick? We're already at the highs back here from December, but it continues to look really strong and march higher seemingly every day. Moving over to my accounts, I traded extremely poorly. For some reason, I just did not think we could keep going after we were down 4.5% on the Qs. I just assumed we were going to get some kind of bounce, and we did really a little bit, but crazy. Just continued to sell. Level after level continued to break. I thought we would get a bounce like we had been, and we just didn't. Everything continued to break down, and I just could not get on the right side of it, which was super upsetting. In hindsight, it was super clear, obviously, but during the day, I just couldn't get my hands around it. Overall, still somewhat positive on the year, which is insane considering how much we've fallen, and certainly I didn't fall anywhere near as much as markets did, but I should have done better, and it's super frustrating. In terms of positions, obviously, I have nothing. I considered holding puts, but that was a good decision to take those off as they continue continue to sell after hours. Continues to look really, really bad. You can see close price 560. After hours were down about another $1.50 there. That's on the SPY charts. I'm sure the Qs are a little bit worse. 472, and we're down into the 469.50 there. So a little bit worse than the SPY charts overall. I'm flat right now, and I want to see some structure before I dip my hand in front of this falling knife. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought of markets today. How did you fare? Are you holding up a little better than me? Let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe. If you got any value out of this video, make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.